Hello and welcome back to our Chapter 4 lecture, Gathering Evidence, Interviews, and Observations. We're going to begin with learning objective number 4, where we want to identify the 3 fundamental stages of the interview process. So the interview process includes 3 fundamental stages: planning, conducting, and memorializing. In the planning stage, the forensic accountant completes 3 basic tasks. First, you want to identify the role of the witness relative to the specific engagement and the role of that witness as compared to other witnesses. Some examples of relevant considerations are: what information is the witness expected to provide? How close was the witness to the people or activities of interest in the forensic accounting engagement? Can the witness corroborate or refute representations of other witnesses? Next, we want to develop a question bank or outline based on the working hypothesis and any preliminary information that may be available. For example, each question should have a purpose related to the ultimate goal of gathering relevant evidence. And lastly, we want to develop an interview schedule. That is the who, what, when, and where of the interview. The conducting of the interview. So this is the doing stage in the implementation of the interview plan. So this plan provides a valuable reference point, but some elements of flexibility have to be maintained to allow for any necessary improvisation. Because each interview is unique, we cannot offer detailed instructions on this checklist, but here are some guidelines that are generally applicable. First, you want to create the desired setting. How comfortable or intense do you want the setting to be? Safety must always be considered when you're selecting an interview site and arrangement. It's strongly recommended the team approach whenever possible. So for example, one person would be asking the interview questions, another person would be memorializing or transcribing that interview, and yet another person would be monitoring body language cues. Begin with introductory questions, then you can progress to the more informational questions. Become and formulate the norm for the interviewee. Like that is that you're going to establish like a standard normal body language that the interviewee possesses. Then as the interviewer, you want to be an active listener. You want to repeat responses that confirm your understanding of what the interviewee is saying. You want to evaluate the consistency between what the interviewee is saying in terms of their words and their body language. You want to look and listen for both verbal and nonverbal indicators of deception during the response time. And more importantly, you want to use follow-up questions. You want to encourage the interviewee to do about 80 to 85% of the talking. You want to terminate the interview immediately if you feel threatened or lose control of the situation. You want your transcriber to take notes, and you want to close the interview by giving the interviewee an opportunity to offer any other additional information that they feel is relevant. Now let's talk about the memorializing stage. This is the final stage of the interview, and this is where you memorialize or transcribe your notes. It is recommended that you take notes during the course of the interview, but although note-taking can slow down the process, it does communicate to the interviewees the importance of their responses. More importantly, it provides documentation of what was said or not said during the interview. So to minimize the disruption of note-taking, 2 interviewers are recommended. One that initiates the question and another one to take the notes. Handwritten interview notes should be transcribed into some type of memorandum of the interview as soon as possible after the interview ends. This enhances the readability and reliability of the information, and it also organizes and allows for organization of the topic and highlights the key points. In the transcription process, the interviewer should make an effort to use the interviewee's word choices and grammar, indicating any direct quotes or any question marks. And whenever possible, the memorandum should be reviewed by the interviewee to ensure accuracy and completeness, and you want to get their sign off on it. Although facts should always be presented without bias, the memorandum should also include findings, observations, recommendations, and opinions as they are appropriate. Of course, any content attributable to the interviewer should be clearly identified as such. As with most abstract skills, interviewing skills are developed over time through trial and error. So here are some tips for conducting effective interviews. Each interview situation presents its own unique opportunities and challenges that most of the time cannot be anticipated. So some tips are to choose the right setting, both time and place. Think safety. Be prepared. Review the facts of the case and all available records and data before you conduct the interview. Know who you are talking to and what you are talking about. Avoid interviewing multiple people together. Do a one-on-one approach. Control the interview. Do not allow the interviewee to direct the line of questioning. Select the best combination of strategies and mix of questions. And do not automatically discredit information that might be unfavorable to your position. You want to save the sensitive or the dark questions, which are known as stress triggers, for later in the interview. And as the interviewer, you want to be an active listener. You want to memorialize the interview as soon as possible after its conclusion. And you want to remember your objective is simply to gather information. You do not want to challenge or influence the interviewee. Thanks for watching this lecture.